All right, digital minds. Ever wonder what happens when tiny thumbs meet massive algorithms? Today, we're diving into the wild world of kids and social media, the policies, the pitfalls, and why society's youngest scrollers might need a few guardrails. It might seem fun and harmless, but there's way more going on. Buckle up. Your digital ethics degree journey starts right now. In just a few decades, smartphones and social media have become an imperative part of global society, integrated into every aspect of our world, but most importantly, the way in which we communicate and interact with others. Within society, children are exposed to a plethora of concerning content that has effects on their cognitive and emotional development. Take, for instance, the child we have in the video. She can be seen sitting, distracted, and dazed by scrolling through her phone. By 2022, 97% of teens under the age of 15 reported using the internet daily. The term iPad kids is even being coined to describe children born from 2010 until 2024 who use iPads and tablets excessively, even while doing everyday tasks. As you can see, this child was ignoring her mother's call for dinner. Stuck in this cycle, children often chase instant gratification, trained to become dependent on dopamine stimulation at the expense of their well-being. Screen dependency, attention deficits, and diminished face-to-face connection skills are just a few of the trade-offs of unrestricted access to smartphones and technology. Introducing the iPhone 36, now with 5-second attention span booster and 24/7 screen time tracking for the illusion of control. Brought to you by Unregulated Tech Access. And we're back to see our better half. This child practices healthy sleep hygiene, balances tech use with other activities, and benefits from guided exposure. True responsibility is taught gradually and built off of self-control. Engaging in healthy habits such as reading, eating, and talking with family and friends promotes responsibility and academic focus. Taking time away from the screen also gives us a second to check in and take notice of trends that have raised alarm and resulted in harm in our community. This debate truly comes down to ethics. The argument against unregulated social media and smartphone usage uses the utilitarian framework, seeking the greatest good for the greatest number of people. Actions can be deemed morally right if they promote the greatest amount of happiness. The outcomes of an action are significantly more important than the intent.
Now that we understand the risk, it's important to consider the benefits. Social media and smartphones have become deeply integrated into our society, offering both children and adults numerous conveniences and opportunities. Rather than shielding youth entirely, we must equip them with the education and tools they need to navigate the digital world responsibly. Access to information is crucial. We must strike a balance between protection and participation. Most importantly, we need to develop a more thoughtful understanding of how technology shapes us, both psychologically and socially. This is where virtue ethics plays a role, guiding us to approach these challenges with wisdom, balance, and moral clarity. Now let's look at some examples of how this can be seen. Here we have an example of how smartphones and social media access allows us to stay in contact and communicate in a meaningful way. A Pew Research Center study found that 94% of parents and 93% of children felt safer when having access to their phones in case they need it. Smartphones allow for real-time communication, which is important. Allowing children to engage with smartphones and social media under guidance supervision allows for children to explore resources that they may have been unaware of. There are many online educational resources that we can access through social media, such as Duolingo, which our users are currently using, Khan Academy, Quizlets, Kahoots, and so many more. Our smartphones and technology allows for full-time access to interactive educational tools and open educational resources. Digital tools can assist in closing educational gaps. Many students do not have access to private tutoring, well-funded programs, or local resources. This exposure is beneficial to children from lower income or rural communities where educational resources or infrastructures may be lacking. Social media and smartphones allow for children to stay in touch, build communities, and find peers with similar interest and background. Youth can explore fandoms, book clubs, cultural groups, and more. Studies show that children from marginalized communities feel safer and more supported online. Ultimately, it's important that we give children agency. Every child deserves the right to information and expression.
The virtue ethics framework values development of character. It begs the question, what kind of generation are we raising up? It focuses primarily on building habits of responsibility and empathy to lie at the very heart of a person's ethical behavior. Children speaking out against cyberbullying, engaging in civic discussion, and managing privacy responsibly, that's character in action.
Now that we've explored both sides of the argument, one advocating for a ban on social media and smartphones for children, and the other supporting informed access, it's time to hear from the very source of this conversation. Let's turn to a panel of creators and experts to bring this dialogue full circle and offer meaningful insight into the path forward.
Hello, everyone. My name is Paula Adjaman,
My name is Janaya Wright.
and this is our Social Ethics and Computing podcast. And today we are going to be talking about the effects of smartphone and social media usage by children under the age of 15. I find myself particularly passionate about this topic because a lot of the people around me have been exposed to a lot of inappropriate things at a young age that have led them to struggle with their self-image, their self-esteem, their focus, their academic success, and it's just been really difficult in the professional world and just as they grow. And so I think this topic is really important.
And kind of just to piggyback off of what you said, I think our society as a whole have been just exposed to so many different things, and we've kind of been desensitized in a way. Social media and technology is such a significant change from what we've seen in previous time periods. However, at the same time, despite its negative use, there's also many positives that social media can offer. And it's very important that we know how to leverage those and how to use social media to benefit all of us globally.
Right. So we've seen how unregulated access to social media can contribute to anxiety, poor sleep, social withdrawal, comparison, just all these negative things.
But we've also seen the benefits of technology, such as global access, access to communities, digital fluency, and the opportunities to just network and build more for yourself.
But studies cited in the U.S. Surgeon General's 2023 advisory warn of the profound risk to youth mental health. And don't forget the real tragedies. Adriana Cooch, Amanda Todd, proof of the consequences of cyberbullying.
Yet social media is also a place where youth organize movements, explore identities, and build network. I think it's important to remember that a lot of those examples do not represent the entire population, and nearly 97% of teens already report daily internet use.
Maybe the real answer isn't banning or full freedom. Maybe the real answer is actually education, guidance, and actually teaching the youth digital literacy. Empowering us to live a full life with digital boundaries. Smartphones and social media are not inherently harmful, but how we guide our children to use them will define the next generation.
Okay.
Now, with that being said, it's important to recognize that smartphone access can benefit society, although sometimes it may undermine mental health, attention spans, and emotional growth. But on the flip side, social media can also help cultivate virtues like responsibility, courage, empathy, and self-regulation. Creating digital boundaries is only the first step in solving this problem. The next generation is counting on us.